All right. And this is actually, well, our official kickoff here. So welcome to this second workshop within Ulysses and the task group of social women's and intersectional entrepreneurship. Today, we are welcoming you to the workshop of becoming change makers for women's empowerment and impact. As you're seeing, the chat is already filling up, so please use the chat to introduce yourselves, tell us where you're from, why you're here. We are very excited to have you on board on this, 2-hour adventure if you want to. And other than that, if you have any questions in between, things you would like to ask or comment on, please do so by, either raising your virtual hand or using the chat and, share a message with all of us. So we'd be happy to reply and see how you can be part of that conversation here. As you see, we have a full program, but I would just want to very briefly talk about the subtitle that we chose for our workshop. To become the change we want to see, to speak, to belong, and to grow ideas that matter. And this should be also your feeling for this 2-hour workshop here with us today, and of course also beyond. We want you to feel empowered. We want you to feel that you can create impact. And we also want to be respectful with each other. So there might be different opinions and ideas on how to discuss, the things that we're going to discuss today. So please, be open-minded, be respectful with each other, and then also please empower each other in order to, become the change makers that we need today. And I'm going to lead you through this workshop, but before I start with that, I just want to very warmly say hello and welcome also from, the Ulysses perspective. You know that we are 8 universities in Europe trying to follow that European understanding and vision to bring people together, and that in the context of education, research, and innovation. As you see here, we are 8 different universities from those 8 different countries, and this workshop is the result of a very fabulous working group that I have very dear to my heart in the work package of entrepreneurship and innovation within Ulysses. My name is Konstantina, and I'm from the University of Münster, and I will be guiding you through that workshop for the main part. But also, as you see here, there are already some fabulous colleagues joining us here today that are also just equally as important and doing the work so that we can have actually such a great workshop here today. This is what we're going to do today. We are starting with a very short opening circle. We will be talking about that aspect of truth and numbers. Why are we talking today about women's entrepreneurship? And then we have 2 really amazing entrepreneurs from our Ulysses community. Christina is already here, and Evelyn is going to join us also in a bit. They both will be talking about their journeys, their supporting systems, and their understandings of how to become an entrepreneur. And then afterwards, we're going to send you all into breakout labs and kind of like tackle the question of how do we build the future together. After that, we will be discussing shortly the fuel for the journey, of course, in the most sustainable sense, in the sense of how can we actually energize each other? How can we find tools and resources that help us on that way? And then in the end, we are going to close with a closing spark with the very big question, what will you change? So I would like to very briefly start with the opening circle. And the opening circle today asks the questions of one word that inspires you. So I'm inviting you to use the chat and add a word to the chat that, that kind of like gives you inspiration with whatever it is. It could be today's weather, it could be your siblings or a famous other person, it could be a service or a product, whatever you would see, something that sparks your inspiration today would be the one word that you would like to share today. Cool, and thank you already for starting here. That is amazing. All right, there's also still people introducing themselves, which is great. Cool. Thank you so much, Julia, for perseverance. As an answer to, the one word that inspires you today, we have already curiosity, we have women, we have inspiration as such, which is amazing. So thank you very much. Oh yeah, my future, great perspective. It is also nice to, kind of like look into the future. An inspiration that would give you is also strength. That is really cool. Thank you very much for sharing. Empowerment. Amazing. We're going to talk about empowerment today. So thank you very much. And yeah, you keep going, all right? So anything that sparks, inspiration to you today, please share it here in the Ulysses chat. Great. All right. And apart from that one word that inspires you within that opening circle, I would also like to go into the topic of what does it actually mean to be a change maker? The title of our series is Becoming Change Makers, and we all want to empower you to become those change makers that we need for the future. And if you would like to share a word or two in the chat on what does it actually mean to you to be a change maker, then please also use that chat for that aspect. Cool, thank you. Yeah, leadership is certainly something super important. We need really good leadership. We need good leadership skills. We need people that understand spaces, that support good leadership. So thank you. That is amazing. Oh yeah, thinking outside the box. That is very important. Understanding that there are several ways that lead us, to the future, to change. That is very important. Action. Thank you very much. Responsibility. Oh yeah, and thank you, Veronica, for saying, I hope to become a change maker for the people that need it. Absolutely. Connecting people, taking initiative. These are all really amazing answers. Thank you so much for that. All right, cool. Yeah, you keep going, with whatever comes to your mind. We'd be happy to take some of these responses also into our documentation that we're going to then share with you afterwards. So the chat is open, please use it, but you're doing it already so very well. So let's move forward. So today we're talking about becoming change makers for women's empowerment and impact. And we would like to start with a very short opening on why this is important and why we need everyone on board with this. And with that, I would like to tackle the question of why it is actually important. The why everyone's voice matters is super important because actually change and making change is up to all of us here. And you see like 5 different aspects that we see here that we need to actually understand in order to, have everyone on board with whoever it is. If it's professors within the universities, if it's different genders, different people that help us create spaces that support each other and make sure that we create actually spaces that help us, move forward. Empowerment is a collective journey. Empowerment is not done by, you can empower yourself, absolutely, but it also has to be institutionalized. So we have to understand how we can move forward together. Innovation thrives on diversity, meaning that the more people we have at the table making decisions and bringing ideas to the table, the better it actually gets in terms of the consequences and the results that we're foreseeing. Challenging biases starts actually with every one of us, meaning that we all have biases and stereotypes, but in the end, we have to re-educate ourselves in order to, move a step closer toward more equality and making sure that we understand that this movement starts with every one of us here. Shared success builds stronger communities. Also here we have to understand that, again, imagine a table where people sit and bring ideas to the table. It is important that we actually build that table on values that represent many people, because the things that we decide for are the things that are then, affecting many other people that are maybe not sitting on that table. So we have to understand how we can build strong communities and empowerment communities to actually move forward. And then inspiration is contagious in the sense of if we build creative spaces where, you can kind of like just play with your ideas and thoughts, it is so important that you kind of like feel that inspiration from others. And that is built kind of like on these stronger communities that we need in order to actually have those networks and people around us that spark innovation, that spark inspiration, that help us, move forward. And with that said, the truth in numbers is really important to look at. Just yesterday, there has been a European comparison on women in leadership out. And within the European Union, the average percentage of women in leadership positions is around 35%. In the total European population, when looking at gender from a binary perspective, we have 52% of women in the European population, but only 35% of them are self-employed and 30% of them are startup entrepreneurs, which is not actually much. We've seen that in 2012, only 29% of active entrepreneurs in Europe were women. And in the top 5 countries with the highest female entrepreneurship rates were in 2012, for example, Greece, Albania, Portugal, Italy, and Croatia. What we have to understand when we look at those statistics is that first, there are different understandings and concepts of what entrepreneurship means. This is certainly important. So sometimes it is also already within your university institutions a different understanding of what is considered a startup or kind of like, already something that is declared to be a company. And then we would have to understand that we might need some more data from actually last year, because that's the last full year that we've experienced, in order to understand how's the development of such topics. What we see, though, is when we look at the statistics, that often these statistics are not fully assessed, and we need to make sure that we actually assess the right info, so we educate ourselves on the actual status of women in entrepreneurship. And second, to also be critical around it, because, for example, something like the COVID-19 pandemic could have an influence on such developments. With that said, is the conclusion towards, this very short input is we need everyone on board. We need to make sure that we assess the right information, to make sure that we have actually the data to discuss. And second, we would also have to understand that this all starts with empowerment and impact. With the spaces that we create so that people actually feel empowered and that they can be creative and work on innovation ideas to then further develop what they have in mind. And this is often not the case. But what we would like to discuss now, having two real talk coming up from the Ulysses network, is that we would like to provide you with 2 examples, like 2 stories from the Ulysses Entrepreneur Network, to understand what was their story, what was their idea behind, becoming an entrepreneur. And maybe you've thought about it yourself already. And if so, maybe you get inspired and have some more words of inspiration after these 2 talks. What we're going to do now is we will have 2 talks by Christina and Evelyn, and both of them are going to share their stories. Before we listen to their stories, we would have to understand that those stories can be very individual. Not every entrepreneurship story or journey is the same. And, there are some individual factors, some national factors, some institutional factors that would support or hinder the one or other development. So we would have to understand that these are very individual experiences. And we are also asking you to be very respectful of these. And we are going to start with a very short introduction that I would like to make now. So please meet Christina. Christina is already here. And I would like to very briefly yeah, introduce her before she starts her her talk, her real talk on her journey, her challenges, and her power. Um, Christina, I will make it very short because I'm sure that you can, introduce yourself much better than I would. But Christina is from the Technical University of Košice in Slovakia and is in her final year of computer sciences with a strong interest in entrepreneurship and the practical use of technology. She works as a data manager at Laza Medical, which is a US-based startup developing AI-powered robotic imaging systems for cardiac procedures, where she really experiences firsthand innovation and startup experiences herself. Christina, we are so lucky to have you here on board. Thank you very much for joining our workshop today and, inspiring others. Um, I will mute my microphone and I will invite you to take over. If you would like to share something, you're absolutely welcome to share. And other than that, we are very excited to listen to your story.
Hi everyone. I will share my presentation. Konstantina, I'm not able to oh, okay. Now I can share. Okay. Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Kristina Ovčarová, and I would like to share my journey, which I called From Confusion to Opportunity. So, as Konstantina said, I'm a final year computer science student at Technical University of Košice in Slovakia, and I'm currently work as a data manager at Laza Medical, which is US-based startup developing AI-powered robotics imaging system for cardiac procedures. So it sounds very impressive, right? But yeah, trust me, if you met me a few years ago, I would never guess I end up here. So when I finished high school, I have no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I wasn't one of those people who had clear plan or a dream job in mind. But a friend of mine, which was a few years older, told me that I should try computer science, that it is a future. I said okay, even though I honestly wasn't into computers at all. I didn't play games, I didn't play with PCs, I didn't even understand how Wi-Fi worked. I didn't know anything about computer science. But I love math, I like creating things, and most importantly, I didn't want to end up in some boring job. And that same friend helped me to get a summer internship at IT firm Global Logic just before university started. And that was the first time I saw that IT really looks like what IT really looks like from the inside. And I was really fascinated. Everyone was building something from nothing, and it actually worked. And this experience made me curious enough to give a computer science a try. But once I started the university, it really hit me hard. In in high school, we had really bad IT classes, which is sometimes case in Slovakia because it is teach by older professors, and I didn't know how to code. And suddenly I was surrounded by people at university who'd been programming for years. They were fast, they were really confident, they got things right at the first time. And I was sitting there thinking like what I am doing here. Every class felt like a new world, new concepts, new languages, new logic, and it was really overwhelming. The first year was pure survival mode for me. I was constantly frustrated. And if I had to describe it, it looked exactly like this. From the beginning, it was confusion, frustration, and helplessness. And then it slowly becomes acceleration. A friend told me something that stayed with me ever since, that learning is like a curve. It's hard at the first, but one day it all clicks. And that's true not only for coding and learning, but also for life. I often compare learning to building a big puzzle. At the beginning, you just see random pieces, you don't know how they fit. You might even question if they belong to the same picture. But as you keep going piece by piece, it slowly starts to make sense. And this is a picture of my journey. It was how it felt for me. Every lecture, every failure, every confusing task, all of it was one more puzzle piece. For 3 years at university, I was really frustrated, lost, and constantly behind. But I kept going mostly because I had great friends who didn't compete with me but really supported me. And that made a huge difference for me. So I suggest surround yourself with people who lift you up, not those who drag you down with them. After 3 years of trying to survive at university, something unexpected happened. I got my first job offer to teach girls how to code at a summer camp. Now, if you know me back then, I was terrified of speaking in front of people. That was really my biggest nightmare. But something inside me said that I should say yes, and I did. And that first yes changed everything for me, because when you say yes to opportunities, even the scary ones, you grow faster than you think. And that summer, I taught my first coding workshop. And even though I was really nervous, I realized this is actually fun. It wasn't my dream job, but it helped me build confidence and open the door to many more opportunities later. Just 2 months later, after my first yes to the lecture opportunity, I got another offer. This time from a small US-based startup called Laza Medical, and they were building AI-powered robotics and to help doctors see the heart in real time during cardiac procedure. Um, it was like using robotics and artificial intelligence to make heart surgeries after safer and faster. When I first heard about it, I thought that sounds way too technical and unrealistic for me. But they said they would be open to hiring even someone non-technical if they are motivated and eager to learn. And then they said, let's do interview in English. And I thought, oh no, I have never done a full interview in English, and I was really terrified. But again, I said yes, and I joined the call, shaking, and somehow managed to get through it. And they hired me. At first, I did smaller administrative tasks, but slowly the team started giving me more and more technical responsibilities. And every time they asked, Christina, can you handle this? I said yes again. And step by step, I grew into a data manager, working with medical data, helping shape how the system interprets medical images, and contributing to real innovations in healthcare. What I love about working in a startup is that you learn everything by doing. It's fast, it is messy, it is creative and unpredictable, but incredibly rewarding. You get to work with people who are passionate about solving real problems, and they are really smart people. You see how your ideas can become a reality, and you realize innovation isn't about having perfect skills, it's about curiosity and courage. So, meanwhile, I kept teaching and also work in Laza Medical. What started as a small camp for teenager girls grew into something much bigger. I started leading also AI workshop for adults, training teachers, even speaking to professionals from IT companies, and I'm still student myself. Um, so remember from the beginning from this of my story, the girl who was scared of public speaking and speaking in English like right now. Now I really love it because it is a great challenge for me. And every time I face a fear, it really loses power over me. So I recommend to face your fears and say yes to every opportunity which gets to your way. And I, yeah, so I was terrified to say yes, but I say yes every time when opportunity came. And I want to tell you about my big dream. And since I was a little girl, I had this dream to go to United States, especially to New York City. I remember watching movies, seeing those yellow cabs and skyscrapers, the energy, and I thought one day maybe. But honestly, I never believed it would really happen to me. Back then, I was just a confused student trying to survive. The US felt like completely different universe for me, but a few years later, the childhood dreams actually come true. Fast forward 2 years after I say yes to the interview at Laza Medical. I've got the opportunity to travel to United States with my company. It wasn't a vacation, uh, which I dream about, but it was a business trip, and I was going completely alone. I landed in a new country, rented a car, and spent 3 weeks working with doctors and engineers, all in English, which was my one of my biggest fears to speak in English. There were moments when I looked around and thought, how did I even get here? And the answer was simple. I never stopped saying yes. Every fear I faced, every uncomfortable step, every I have no idea what I am doing moment, it all led me here to to live my dream. It's funny, I used to dream about standing in front of big US buildings, and now I was standing in front of our own building, not as a tourist, but as a part of the team that's building something that could truly change medicine. At Laza Medical, we are so this is my dream come true. I traveled around America because I went to the business trip, and then I could travel across America. And something about our startup, Laza Medical. So we are developing AI-powered robotic imaging system that help doctors see the heart in real time during surgery. So you can imagine a doctor performing a delicate cardiac procedure, and our technology give them a 3D view inside the heart, guiding every tiny movement with precision and safety. It's innovation that can literally save lives. And to think that just a few years ago I was doubting whether I even belong to the tech, and now I'm part of building something that could be a breakthrough in modern medicine. So that's honestly mind-blowing for me. What could happen in just 3 years for a confused girl which didn't know what to do in a life. And that's why I share my story, because I want you to know that it's okay not to have it all figured out. It's okay to start from zero. What matters is that you keep going and stay curious, and that you say yes even when it is scary. Because one day those small yeses, the scary, uncomfortable ones, might lead you to somewhere you never imagined. Maybe even to New York City for me, or to a project that changes the world. So, if there's one message I want to leave you with, it's this. Don't give up when things don't go your way. The frustration phase is part of growth. It's where your resilience is built. When you fail, laugh, and move forward, one day those failures will become your funniest stories. I was really afraid always of failing, and now every fail is funny story for my friends, which we are saying in the evenings when we are together. Who has the funniest story of some failure? So I recommend to laugh and move forward after every failure. It's one step closer to your goal. And don't take yourself too seriously. I needed to learn how to enjoy the chaos. It's where the best learning happens. And as I said, say yes to all small opportunities, because they might seem tiny now, but one day you'll see how they connect into something big. And dream big. My dreams were unreachable for me 3 years ago, but I was patient and they come true. Because dreams don't happen overnight, they happen step by step, and one brave yes at a time, and you will reach your goal. So, my last words are trust the process, keep your curiosity alive, and never stop believing that what you are doing can make a difference. So, thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. This, and this has already only been the first talk out of two. So, if you don't find the, words of inspiration, I don't know where you can find them. So, thank you very much, Christina, for sharing not only your journey, but also those very beautiful insights of learning moments. And I think that is the beauty of such a journey. And I took a few notes, and there are so many great quotes. So you can fill a book with them. So thank you very much for sharing. We will be coming back to you in a minute. And first of, we would like to also invite Evelyn to share her story. And then we're going to get back to both of you and seeing how we can, maybe ask a few more questions on your journeys and insights. But before we do that, first of all, thank you so very much for being part of this workshop. And then I would like to introduce Evelyn very quickly before she starts giving her insights. And I'm sure that we will find so many great quotes from you too. And I saw you already nodding. So, and that was beautiful to see when Christina just shared her understandings and her journeys. I was kind of like feeling, Evelyn, oh yeah, you can resonate with a few of them. So we are very excited to have you on board, and very warm welcome to you to this Ulysses workshop. Let me introduce you very briefly, and then I will give the word to you. If you would like to share anything, you can absolutely. Evelyn Bako is an entrepreneurial leader, business builder, and currently the head of revenue at Figge, at a Finnish food company, redefining B2B hospitality. So we are now getting into a very different sector. Originally from Hungary, Evelyn moved to Finland at only 16 without speaking the language. A challenge that certainly taught her how to build from zero, adapt fast, and turn uncertainty into opportunity, a word that we've already heard from Christina a few times now. At Figge, Evelyn has led the company's growth from early stage revenue to a scalable, profitable business, generating over 2.5 million euros in sales, achieving a 90% client retention rate, and also helping position Figge from a small family business to the leading corporate catering company in Helsinki. So now coming from Tukka, flying over to Finland, Helsinki. Evelyn, thank you so very much for being here. The floor is yours. I mute myself, and thank you so much for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you, Constantina, and thank you for inviting me here. And also thank you for Christina. I was nodding because I found so many similarities in my story, but also because it was so inspiring. So it's definitely going to be hard to top this, and I'm not even going to try. But I think my story or my insights may be more on the practical side. So definitely not so inspiring as Christina's, but I hope to share some insights also from my journey. So thank you also, Christina. It was really interesting to hear your story. But yeah, I will share my screen then if I can, so I can show you some slides as well. Let me know if you see it. Okay, you can see my screen. Great. Okay, so the title of my presentation is how to grow a business from 0 to 1 million euros without a big budget, because that's what we did with Fugge. And I thought to introduce you this story because it's definitely possible. It's very hard bootstrapping a business without any funding or any investment, but I think it might be very helpful for some people to know how to do it if you're interested in entrepreneurship yourself and you might not have a lot of investment to start with. So a little bit about myself, if I manage to handle this presentation. So yes, as Konstantina mentioned, I was born and raised in Hungary, but I moved to Finland when I was 16. And this was my first, like, I didn't have any networks in Finland. I didn't know the language. I came here to study. So it was my first experience of building from zero. I literally had to build my whole life here. And that was very, yeah, it was a bit scary, but of course, a very rewarding experience. So since then, I became a mom. I have a toddler who speaks 4 languages. We have an international family. I also run marathons. I'm very active in my life. But yeah, how I ended up to Fugge, I used to work as a community manager at Access Helsinki, which is an entrepreneurship society here. So that's where my entrepreneurial spark is originating from. So I used to organize events for students who were interested in entrepreneurship, but I was not interested in it myself. I just wanted to help students who wanted to grow their businesses, inviting interesting speakers and sort of facilitate like a lot of discussions. But then over the time of working there, I got interested in entrepreneurship myself, and I was like, okay, maybe this is something I could also do. But then I graduated, and then I found a corporate job. I went to work at Huawei, very big company, very corporate, a lot of rules, a lot of things. Obviously, I learned there, but then I realized that kind of environment is not for me. I really want to do something from zero and grow a company from zero. So I'm currently with Fugge, and I will tell the story of Fugge very, very shortly. And we also opened our first restaurant, Monda, just recently. So now we have 2 businesses, and these businesses we are running with my family. So with my brother and my sister-in-law. So yeah, what I love personally is this kind of process of building and creating things from ground zero, and also helping others succeed. So that's the reason why I joined Fuge and my brother and my sister-in-law in this journey, because I also wanted them to succeed as entrepreneurs. So a little bit about Fuge. We are now the leading B2B catering company here in Finland. We have 800 corporate customers, around 1.2 million of annual revenue, and we employ about 30 team members together with the restaurant. And our mission is to build better workplaces through food. So we cater, at the moment, specifically companies here in Helsinki. And we cater their team events, team breakfast, lunches, meetings, and all sorts of celebrations that companies organize. And as I mentioned, we also opened our first restaurant recently. And now we're also building a software to streamline all this corporate hospitality process, which is a very big project, but a lot of opportunities in this industry because it's very traditional industry. So there isn't really a lot of innovation here. So we've seen that we can actually bring in some innovation to this. And then these pictures are some of our food that we cater and our team. This is some of our customers that you might know. We have big brands, of course, in the client selection. We have, of course, Netflix, Vault that you might familiar with, and we have also some smaller companies. So we have really interesting range of clients. Also, for example, the city of Helsinki or different governmental organizations, embassies, and so forth. So it's a very interesting place to work at the moment. But of course, we didn't start with this. So we had to get our first customer, and so I'm here to tell the story of how we did that and what was the starting point of this journey. So here you can see on this picture my brother and my sister-in-law, the co-founders of Fuge. So we started from a very small kitchen in Helsinki, and our very first product was this box on the picture that you see. So this is a cheese and charcuterie box. So we started Fuge because my sister-in-law had this passion for food, and she wanted to provide an experience for people where you can combine food and also connect around this food. So we launched this cheese and charcuterie product, which was very new in Finland at the time. Nobody has been really doing this. And so yeah, we didn't have any investors or fancy kitchen or fancy marketing. We had 2 fridges and literally ourselves to make these really nice looking boxes. And of course, the marketing budget was 0, so we didn't start from. We did everything ourselves: the pictures, the distribution, and so forth. And the key sales tactic at this time, when we had 0 networks even, was actually very local. So we literally drove to the richest neighborhoods here in Helsinki, and we started distributing flyers that, hey, we have this cheese and charcuterie boxes coming up, you can pre-order them now. And we started distributing these flyers to where we thought that our customer lives. So we went there physically, and we took these flyers, we gave it to people, we put it in their post mailbox and so forth. Then of course we also launched social media, but we didn't just launch social media and started posting about ourselves, but we actually started engaging with potential customers on social media. So we started following them, commenting on their pictures so that they would actually recognize that we exist. And then, of course, the word of mouth, telling everybody about what we do, what we want to do, and building in public. So we started sharing on LinkedIn our whole journey of building this business, which actually brought us a lot of visibility. So our first success was actually selling 100 of these charcuterie boxes. And that's when we knew that, okay, this has a potential. And I'll share the next milestone with you of this journey. So one day we went to a business meeting. We met with the CEO of a big company, and we took one of these cheese and charcuterie boxes there for him as a gift. It doesn't matter what was the meeting about. It wasn't even about the business that much, but we just took this as a gesture that, you know, he can also try our product, and we just wanted to give this to him. And so he saw the box, and when he opened it, he was like, "Oh my God, this is so beautiful, so amazing. But could you do this box as a table? I have 80 people in my team, and I really would like to offer this to them, but on a table." And we were like, "Oh my God, that is definitely something we cannot do." But we told him we can absolutely do it. So we didn't know how we're gonna do it, or how we should do this, or, you know, what will be the sort of procedure of making such a big table and so much food and delivering it to a table and setting it up nicely. But we just said, yes, absolutely, we can do it. And that was actually our first catering gig. So back to Christina's presentation, we said yes without even knowing what we're going to do or how we're going to actually do this. It was very scary, but we just said yes because there was an opportunity. So yeah, that led us to our second product, which is catering. And then this is also our current product that we actually managed to grow very big with. So we got our first catering request, and then it became an instant success because people who were on that meeting and event, they started spreading the word that, oh my God, there was this amazing table of food. We should get it for our company or our team event or my birthday party. So we started catering also B2C, private celebrations, birthdays, and so forth. But then we quickly pivoted to B2B because we've seen that there's a bigger potential, and also there's been a lot of things and innovations that we can actually bring into the corporate world. Again, at this time, bear you not, its marketing budget was still zero. So with most of the customers we got through referrals and people seeing our tables, so they were referring to others. But then, of course, we realized we have to grow somehow. If we have to figure out a way to bring in new customers. So what we did, we actually visited office buildings here in Helsinki with samples. So we took a box of food, a box of cocktail bites that you see here, and we just went to office buildings and showed it to people. And I personally visited around 120 offices, and sort of just, you know, offering these samples for them and telling about ourselves, and of course we got lots and lots of customers this way. And I think the other very big part of our growth was going above and beyond for our customers, and that means that, you know, whatever our customers ask for, we really listen to it, and we really made sure that they stay happy so that they actually return to us. And that actually led us to 90% of retention rate. So meaning 90% of customers who buy our food one time, they will come back and buy it again. So that those were the key growth pillars for our business. And then, yeah, just to little bit, you know, discuss more this growing smart mindset, meaning that you don't need actually a lot of cash to grow. Of course, it's easier maybe with, you know, if you have enough money to burn and do sort of like marketing and paid ads and so forth. But when you don't have money, when you start from zero, you actually become very creative. So you really do things that maybe your competitors are not doing, and that really gets to your customers. So as I mentioned, with this local marketing hustle, going to these offices and neighborhoods and just bringing the localized marketing, it's something that people usually forget because everybody is focused on the online world. But there's a lot of potential in this localized marketing and distributing these materials. where your customers are actually located, where they go every day, so they seeing your business there, and then they will more likely to buy from you. Then we had this build in public mindset. So ever since we started, we shared a lot of behind the scenes and our learnings on social media, not just our successes, but also maybe some failures on the way. And that created a lot of authenticity and trust. And up until today, I get customers from LinkedIn, for example. uh, Selling before we were ready. So this is coming back to Christina's point that many times customers would ask us for something that we didn't have, products that we didn't have, or services we didn't have, but we still told them we can do it, even though we didn't know how we're going to do it. But it allowed us to grow and fund this early growth. And we always figured it out some way. So yeah, it's also important learning from my journey that say yes to things that you're scared of, and sell even before your product is ready. Creative outreach, as I mentioned, walking into the office buildings or even to where your customer is located physically, and that is something unforgettable. People always remember those personal interactions. We also turned customers into marketers. So maybe you've seen our product is very visually pleasing, and it's something that customers are taking pictures of and sharing on social media. So we always make sure that there is a shareable moment from our services and products, whether it's a thank you card or a very pretty table setup. So instead of paying for paid ads, our customers are the ones doing the marketing for us. Talking to customers constantly. It's super important when growing. For example, up until today, we never send this type of automatic survey request to our customers, but we actually call them and we ask them, how did everything go on their event? How did they like the catering? Was there anything that we could do for them that would help them? And these kind of phone calls actually helped us grow and create new services that we could sell, and they were ready to buy because we just asked this personally from them. So it's very important to all the time talk to the customers and ask them for feedback, and stay open-minded for what they want to say. So instead of just pushing your ideas and your products, you actually listen to what the customers want. Many times it happened that we had a product that we wanted to sell, but the customers just simply didn't want it. So in those cases, you have to put this ego aside and really just listen to the customers. What is it that they want and they ready to pay for? But yeah, I think most biggest learning of all is that consistency matters 100 times more than being perfect. So of course, this whole journey was not very linear, and it was full of failures as well. I will not sugarcoat it. It was, of course, very hard, especially the beginning when it was just the three of us. So, from waking up very early every single day for a whole year to actually create products and go to the kitchen and work and then deliver it to customers, and then in the evening. So it's very difficult to grow a business, but it's always important to stay consistent, and not obsess so much about being perfect. Of course, as our team was growing, we also had a lot of failures in there. For example, when the economy doesn't go well, it also affects us as a business because our customers cannot buy as much anymore from us as previously. So we had to cut some cost, and that is always comes with a lot of challenges, but very and sometimes we're not even sure how to handle those things because we don't have experience in it. But the most important is to just stay consistent and keep showing up every single day, versus trying to be perfect all the time. But also wanted to add here that nobody builds alone, and you can certainly build alone, but it's a lot easier when you have support. And of course, in Fuge's journey as well, there has been a lot of different spaces and communities that supported us. So I wanted to highlight those as well. For example, Maria01 in Finland is a local startup hub, and also currently they are our restaurant partner. They've been helping us a lot in the early days. The Shortcut, it's also a startup focused, sort of an accelerator that helps early stage startups and entrepreneurs. Access Helsinki, where my entrepreneurial journey comes from, and it also at the end became our early clients for Fuge. And different networks of founders who openly share their lessons and their failures. This was also very helpful on our journey. Business Finland provided a lot of entrepreneurship support in the beginning. Then Horizon is a local nonprofit focused on connecting international people with companies. So we got, for example, interns through this company. And then Ulysses European University as well connected us with students and even helped us solve some business challenges that we were facing related to food waste. So it's really important to stay open and accept support, and have these mentors and peers, and even sometimes your competitors that can inspire you. So this is something that it doesn't have a price tag, it doesn't cost, but it is sort of an invisible capital. So yeah, that is what I was wanting to say today. Thank you so much for listening, and feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you're interested in our journey. I share all the time what's happening and some learnings related to money, revenue, and all sorts of things. So thank you.
Thank you so much. This is amazing. I'm just so glad that you've joined us, because I do have to share that I was lucky enough to actually meet Christina and Evelyn in the past few months in person, and it was just so lovely. So thank you so much, Evelyn. That was brilliant. Thank you for showing this really amazing journey and connected with the learnings that you had in terms of saying yes at the right time, having a good crew on your side, and understanding that it is not always the obvious that we need to do, but maybe the very local, the hey, this is our product, let's have people taste it and see that we actually offer quality, and make sure that we build a very meaningful connection to clients and customers, which is so important. So thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
sharing. Thank you. This is great. All right. Now, we have both Christina and Evelyn here, and if you would like to ask questions, you can do that now. So you can either, raise your virtual hand and we go one by one, or you could use the chat and just, add a question here or there. And, before people think, about their next question, I would like to start with a question that I'm very eager to ask. Today is about empowerment and impact. And I wanted to know, what are your empowerment spaces? Where do you gain empowerment and, this feeling of, hey, I can actually create impact? Are there any spaces that you can share?
Maybe I can start here. At the moment, actually, for me, it's always changing throughout my journey. So, of course, in the beginning, it was, for example, the student-led society which I was part of, where I always met these very ambitious students, which actually sparked me as well to, go after my dreams and goals. But for example, at the moment, it's actually our own restaurant, which is located in the startup hub. So there is always people, founders, entrepreneurs coming in, having meetings there, and you never know who you will meet there every single day. And I'm seeing people building companies from the restaurant. So it's very inspiring for me to just see these very ambitious people. But also on a personal side, I'm part of a lot of running clubs where I go for this more sort of personal inspiration. So I really like to be part of these clubs because they are not related to my work. And I think it's important to sometimes just detach from work and not really think only about work, but actually, meet people who might be doing completely different things and just get inspired by them. I think I get inspired by a lot of different types of things and people.
Thank you. Christina, do you have any empowerment spaces that you can share with us?
Yeah, for me, at the first, it was family, where I got the biggest support from my parents and my friends. And also, I have to say that I found really big empowerment in our local church community, because there were a large scale of different people, also older people, also people which were career driven. So I have a chance to learn from all different types of people. So I was not only spending time with my peers, which went through same struggles, but I also have a little bit older friends, so I was able to learn a lot from them.
Super, thank you. Thank you. And we already hear from, what you share about those empowerment spaces is also learning from others and
Yeah.
understanding that we need different people around us that teach us, different perspectives or just learning by their experiences could be so important. This is what I'm hearing from both of you right now, that, different voices at the table support us also in our learning process. Thank you. We have actually a question in the chat. And what do we have? We have Julia. Have you ever felt that you were suited for different paths? If so, was it difficult to choose just one? And have you ever regretted the path you've chose along the way?
This is a very good question because I feel like I'm still up until today. I'm not sure about what is my path. I feel like I'm just doing things that I enjoy doing, and then it's sort of showing me the path. But definitely, I definitely there were times when I thought that I am suited to become a marketing person. So I was chasing, dreams in marketing field, and I wanted to become a big marketer at a CMO at a big company, and this was my dream. And then, I started doing things towards that, but then, life took me some different way. And I wouldn't say I chose any path. I just realized that, when I start doing things and actually, just do things, not just, sit at home and do nothing, then actually that is showing me also the path, and it helps me show what is it that I enjoy doing, what is it that I maybe want to do. And it's not always the same. I feel like I have this life periods in life where I want to do different things than maybe 2 years ago, and I think that's totally fine. You can always change your path. I don't think it's something that you have to stay on track, all your life. You have to know what you want to do. I think the best is just to, do things, meet people, offer your help to people, bring value somehow, and then it will show you the path.
Thank you. Christina, would you like to add anything to that?
No, I 100% agree with Evelyn. So, yeah, I didn't have my dream path and I don't have now. But yeah, I was open to opportunities and I'm trying still saying yes. So I hope that new opportunities will come, and I'm really satisfied what life brings when you are open and you are active.
Yeah. Super, thank you. And we also see a comment by Veronica in the chat saying, I would become a social worker, so I have a very different dream compared to Evelyn and Christina, but they inspired me. And this is again the beauty of, having diverse people around us that help us yeah, look at things differently, but still, you can learn something from it. There is a spark from your stories also into all of our stories. And this is why we, try to share those journeys and those learnings. So thank you very much, Veronica, for that comment here. We have another question by Dana, and Dana's asking, did the ladies take some of the special training, like, for example, speaking publicly? To level up their skills, or are they learning by doing via real world situations? Is there like any training that you took in order, to kind of like grow your business identity and your skills?
For me, I did not take any formal training besides my bachelor degree, which was in international business. But everything I learned, I just learned in my work. And that is for example, biggest skill I learned was sales. And I had never done any sales training or anything like that. So everything I learned was, just talking to clients and then sharpening my skills. So yeah, I think the real world learning is usually what happens when you do things. But I think it's also actually good to do these trainings. I would really love to also have some formal training in certain areas, for example sales, which I never done, but also public speaking. Yeah, I was also very frightened a few years ago, just as Christina. And I never studied it, but I would love to. It will be very interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, same here. I didn't take any trainings, but I started to lecture, and this was the opportunity to get better in it because uh, each time audience was different, and it teach me to speak to many different kinds of people. But yeah, I would like to attend some public speaking trainings. I search for some, so I hope I can attend in near future. And yeah, you always can do better. So.
Thank you. There is another question by Fatima, and Fatima is asking, how do you deal with failure and with people telling you, I told you so? Sometimes we miss out good opportunities just because we are afraid from people judging us. Everyone can deal with success, but I think the most important thing is dealing with possible failure. I feel that is a very important question on how to deal with failure. And also, what do we actually define as failure? Because sometimes you can actually recontextualize failure as learning. It's a learning moment. It's not a failure moment, but maybe it's a learning moment. But before I, get ahead of myself, please go ahead.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. I noticed that a lot of people are afraid of failure, but I feel like the biggest failure is not doing anything. And usually the people who judge, they are the ones who don't do anything. So, and I kind of feel like people might judge you even if you do or do nothing. So you might as well just do something and, fail in it, so to say. But it's certainly hard actually to when you have these failure moments and when you're right there inside that failure moment. And what helped me was to sort of just realizing that it's my responsibility and I'm the only person who can change my path or change the direction of the business and so forth. So if I'm responsible for the failure, I can also change that and I can actually take it to a different path. So just sort of this responsibility feeling, it's also very freeing because you realize that you are responsible for everything, whether you fail or whether you succeed. And it's like, I don't know, I feel freedom in there. But yeah, I'm not sure if I can give an advice on how to deal with that. I would just, advise to do things, because people will judge in any case. And as Christina said, just surround yourself with people who level you up and don't go to, maybe even cut friends who judge you, because they are not the people who will support you, and you might not need those people in your life.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Yeah, so I try to, like Evelyn said, surround with people who don't say it, I told you so, but who encourage you to fail, and who also sharing their weaknesses. So you don't feel alone in your failure, but you can see that other also fails and they are not ashamed about it, but you can see another's journey. So I love to surround with people who are further than me, so they can share, or I can see in their lives that they failed a lot, but they are now more more further in life than me and they succeed. So I'm motivated to fail because I can see it as a feedback. And yeah, I'm very competitive, so I love to try it again and try to not fail. So it when you see it as a game, then you fail, and also once you will win in this area.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, and Fatima is also thanking both of you. We have three more questions in the chat, and with that, I would like then afterwards conclude, to kind of like also move forward. So the next question is, have you ever faced any challenges just because you're a woman? Do you think it would be easier for men?
This very good question. I think I never think of that. I'm sure I had phase maybe, but and maybe also because I'm international and here in Finland, the circles are very closed. So if you're sort of an outsider, it's hard to enter. Many of the entrepreneurs and successful founders here are men from Finland, so it's not an easy sort of path to get there. But yeah, I don't know if I was also always trying to sort of think that it actually gives the power and it's more sort of a benefit, and focus on that rather than how challenging it is. For example, I think just because we are internationals, we're able to bring a different perspective to the business and innovate differently than, for example, Finnish founders, which is a big advantage rather than challenge. Of course, we have definitely there are challenges as well, but there are definitely advantages also. And I think also as a woman, there is a lot of advantage in sales that women don't really know about. And maybe you would think that is a stereotypical salesperson is a guy who is very pushy and very talkative and so forth. But I think women have this ability to be very empathetic and listen, and that is this really big advantage in this whole business world. So I think there is more advantages to it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, I also agree that it is perspective if it is advantage or disadvantage. And I was always supported by men, also by male friends or my colleagues. We were only, at the beginning, we were only two women in our startup, but it was very supported. And yeah, like Evelyn said, it brings a different value. And I think that some men can see that. And I was very lucky that I had only those men in my life. So I cannot tell for everybody. But for me, yeah, I was lucky to be surrounded by men who saw the value in different perspective from women.
Yes, thank you. Great. Okay, so Katarina is asking, can we as universities change the support for women in entrepreneurial skills during university studies? If yes, what was missing the most that you experienced as lacking during your journey as a businesswoman? What else do we as, Ulysses universities have to offer so that, women have the empowerment and the skills to actually
Mm.
pursue becoming an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think this is a lot broader than just university level support. I feel like it's a society as a whole, we have to support women. And yeah, this is a very broad question, but I think, yeah, definitely universities can also support. We see that at least in Finland, 2% of the successful founders are women, so it's very few. And it's also because women don't want to start companies. And there is a reason behind it, obviously. But of course, I think in university level, what can be done is to actually create these spaces for women and, bring in inspiring role models that they can get just inspiration from. When you're maybe inviting a speaker to an entrepreneurial event, you can actually look out for women, because they bring their stories, and they can actually inspire women as well, that, oh, okay, if they did it, I can also do it. But this is very broad question. So yeah.
Yes, thank you, Evelyn. Christina, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, for me, connecting people from real world and from companies, connect them with students, because sometimes teachers have some knowledge, but students would like to see real experience from companies, from leaders. So I think it would be great to see firsthand experience.
Yeah, super. Thank you. And hopefully we're doing that today, right? We have invited both of you with your very inspiring journeys and personalities. And hopefully, there will be people coming out of this 2 hour webinar. Wait, here we are. And then going out of this webinar and having that spark, of saying like, hey, I think I can do that. You know, and to all of you, this is the message. If you want to try, please do. It's a huge learning moment. If you want to pursue something like that, look at it as a project. There's nothing to lose. Really nothing to lose, but very much to learn. So this should be the message to all of you. Um, as I said, one last question, and then we will have to move forward. It is the question by Yasaman, and Yasaman is asking, you've both been really inspiring to me. I'm curious, how did you stay motivated on your journey?
For me, it was I guess this refers to the times when it's really tough. I think that's the hardest, of course, to stay motivated. And, you have to have a reason for waking up every single day, even there's no results, or maybe nobody's buying, nobody's following your project. You still have to have a good reason why you're doing it. And I think for everybody that's different. For me, it was that I really wanted to just build something. For me, it's the whole journey. I have no specific passion in the industry or in hospitality or in food, but I love building, and I just wake up every day to build something, to create an experience for a client, or create something out of zero. So for me, that is really motivating and inspiring. And also running. I got into running, and sports. It keeps you grounded and your head clean sometimes.
Yeah, for me, I really needed sometimes external motivation. So I needed someone when I don't feel motivated and when I am really lost in what I'm doing, to go to someone and yeah, someone you cannot see it clearly when you are frustrated. And in this time, it really helped me to have external motivation from my family or my friends, from someone to whom I looked up. So, yeah, for me, external motivation is a big factor.
Super. Again, thank you so very much for taking the time to, coming on this workshop webinar within our Ulysses community. Thank you so much for sharing all of these very special and insights of your journey, of your learning moments, of what you would give as advice to other people. Thank you for creating that spark. I think that is at least the one thing that I would like to take home with me today. And once again, we would like to encourage everyone who wants to reach out. Please do that via LinkedIn or what there is. If you have more questions or things to ask, things to know about, please look up both of those very extraordinary startups and companies that were built in these two processes. And other than that, thank you again once so very much for being here and for sharing your personal journeys with all of us.
Thank you. It was very nice to also hear from Christina, and also the questions and everybody. So thank you for your attention and time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right. So these were the real talks from our Ulysses community. And now we would move forward with our breakout labs, building the future together. We do that in the next 20, 25 minutes, something like that. And we want to ask the question with the aim of building the future together. How do we create safe and powerful spaces for women to lead, launch, and lift others? And the vision here behind that task is actually to share, sketch, and dream out loud. What we're going to do is now we will share whiteboard. You will be going into breakout sessions with three of our colleagues, Dana, Katharina, and Miriam, who will be leading you through that 20 to 25-minute session. And after that process, we're coming back together, and we would like to also then share the documentation of your breakout sessions with you in the aftermath of this webinar, so that you kind of like get some more inspirational ideas on these aspects over here. What I will do now is I will be starting the breakout sessions. So we will have 3 of them. We will go in here. And what do we have, Oswan? Give me a second. And these are the ones. I will be sharing the whiteboard so you can have a look. This is what we are working with. Let me see. Many screens too. Here we are. I already see people on there. I'm opening the spaces, the breakout sessions. Enjoy. Get in touch with each other. And there will be 4 leading questions and 3 great colleagues that will guide you through the process. I would like, here we are. Everyone's back in the general forum. So thank you very much for joining the breakout sessions. And yeah, you've discussed quite a few questions. Apologies for that, little technical hiccup here in terms of the whiteboard, but I'm sure you've had some valuable discussions around those 4 topics that we sketched for you. Is there anything you would like to share at this point? In terms of, do you have any input on the questions you would like to share? Whatever you like to discuss now. You can also, of course, add a few answers to the chat if you would like to. And other than that, we will be making sure that the documentation is ready for you after the workshop, and we will send you, a collection of answers after that. Okay. Doesn't look like we're doing it right now. So I would suggest we're moving forward with the program. Okay. I will have to stop the whiteboard at this point, and we'll make it accessible later on. So here we are. We have just discussed in your breakout labs, how do we create safe and powerful spaces for women to lead, launch, and lift others. But also we've talked about what empowerment means to you and what is your actually change-making vision. And in the beginning, I started with this sentence of, we have to find spaces where we can all, thrive and feel empowered and feel that we can actually create impact. And very briefly to concerning this aspect of spaces. Maybe you've heard already about safer and braver spaces. If not, this is an excellent learning moment then for some of you to understand how we can actually also build different spaces that help us grow and also learn. On the one side, we have safer spaces that would protect, include, and respect people. And then we have braver spaces that challenge, reflect, and grow other people. So what we would have is that, for example, we would have in safer spaces to set clear community agreements in the sense of who's invited. Usually when we do that, for example, for women in entrepreneurship, we have the only women female breakfast once, every 2 or 3 months that invites people or women to talk about their ideas that would set a clear community agreement. We, of course, allow diverse participation styles in the sense of, having the possibility to talk one-on-one, to talk within the whole group, and to, leave a few comments in written form, just to kind of like allow different styles here. In those spaces, of course, in every space, what could come up is some kind of microaggression. If you're not familiar with this concept of microaggression, that would be part of, discriminatory practices. And we would address them promptly, just like in that moment that we do not allow such microaggression to come up in such spaces. And we provide support and trusted contact points so that there is always one person that, is your contact point for, questions that you would have. And what we're also trying to do is to use inclusive and gender-aware language in those spaces. This safer spaces is really to allow people that usually feel not that empowered and that not feel that they can create much impact in usual spaces that are offered to many, to actually be creative within their peers and learn from each other. This is very important. On the other side, we have braver spaces. And in braver spaces, we look at this aspect of reflect, change, and grow. So usually what we try to do is to normalize discomfort as part of learning. Learning can be, and growing can be very discomfortable. So trying to understand how we can actually challenge each other is super important. Again, in a time frame and a room that is easy to work with, but it challenges each other. We are encouraging questionings and self-reflection in order to grow. We invite multiply and even conflicting views, because that is where when, different people with different understandings come together and challenge each other to understand diverse perspectives. And we also model vulnerability as a leader or a facilitator, making sure that we are approachable as humans and also as kind of like navigating those spaces. And we turn reflection into concrete action. So understanding what we have learned and kind of like putting it forward as kind of like a growing moment. What we have to understand in those aspects is that a learning community, when we, for example, want to facilitate safer spaces, but also braver spaces. And we want to empower each other and let other people also create impact. A learning community always needs both. Space safe enough to share and also brave enough to transform. And this is something that we would like to have you take as a takeaway from this workshop. To understand that we always have to facilitate both safer spaces and braver spaces, especially when it comes to entrepreneurial learning. What else is there? And of course, what we would like you to encourage you to is to find your changemaker circle. Find the people that empower you, that allow you to learn, to grow, and to feel inspired. And also understand that there are certain networking types that just benefit you from, talking to people that are similar to you, but also talking to people that are different to you. In the kind of like documentation process, so after this workshop, you will receive an email from us where we will also share a short booklet with you at your university for your information, where you can find at your universities a next step toward your entrepreneurial activities. If it's the startup centers or transfer offices, a contact point, a network where you could, kind of like start with a conversation and something that kind of like helps you to find a next step within your institution. We will share this in an email after this workshop. And in the end, please take that message with you. You got this. We have certainly heard in these two very inspirational talks from our entrepreneurial founders here from the Ulysses Network that saying yes to an opportunity could have a big potential impact toward your next step. So just understand that, there are people that support you, that want to empower you. Find those people, work with these people, and try to make a next step in your change-making vision. And now we are already, at the closing spark of our webinar. And that will, kind of like go with two things that we want to share with you. First of all, please ask yourself the question, what will you change? What's the one thing? Where's your vision leading you to? What is the one thing you will change? And then at the same time, please follow this collective declaration that we all are the change. And change is much easier when it's done in a network, in an empowering network with people that have similar visions and values to you. And understand that you can find anywhere, if it's social or institutional support, you can find support that will help you be part of that collective declaration. In the end, also find that Ulysses is a great network to understand where you can, thrive in different contexts, change your countries, go to somewhere else. So please, if you want to apply for a job in a Ulysses country or for an internship, to learn more, to grow more, to see more, please know that you can do that. There will be a course opening up next year that will help you kind of like, lead you through the resources that the Ulysses network is offering you. That's the one over here. So if you have any questions, please let us know. In the end, stopping with that and concluding our webinar or workshop, we want you to be part of that change. This is why we called our series the Becoming Changemaker series. And today we focused on women's empowerment and impact. We have to understand that we all have to be on board in order to create spaces where women can thrive, be creative and innovative. And we also all have to understand that we need women on board in order to find solutions to the great challenges that we're facing at the moment as, societies. So with that, we would like to conclude our workshop. And thank you very much for your participation. I once more want to thank my great colleagues for, supporting this great vision of promoting social, women's, and intersectional entrepreneurship. Again, you will find an email in your mailboxes from us in a few days with the documentation of what we've discussed, with the presentation material, and also with some more institutional support where you can find a next step at your institution to, become your entrepreneurs yourself. And again, please ask yourself, what is the change that you will make in the next days, months, or even years? Thank you all so very much. Good luck with everything, and we hope to see you soon in our next Becoming Changemaker workshop next year. And then we will be focusing on intersectional entrepreneurship. If you have any questions on that, please reach out to us and have a really good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much,
Bye.
Konstantina.
Thank you.
Greetings from Spain. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks. Good to have you all on board.